joining me on Filme Shilmy. I mean, sir, I have grown up with your films, so for
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
it's a matter of great honor to have you on the platform. So thank you so much for joining me. First of all, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Huh. So, sir, actually, Surajji, post Prem Ratan Dhan Payo, you have always wanted to make films that connect with the younger generation. And I think you said you were trying to find your space in it. Uchai,
Yeah.
in Uchai, you've come out with three young at heart men who reboot their lives to achieve a more
Yes.
significant purpose. So, what made you zero in on the project?
Yes. Actually, this is precisely my answer to my question because I was wanting to make something where I'll be able to convey the values of family and also of life to the younger audience. And I got precisely a subject, but I'm saying it through elders.
Hmm.
It is this film, Unchai, is about three friends who take this trek to the Everest base camp to fulfill a promise done to their fourth friend. And they are all 65 plus. And they reach the Everest 17,000 feet and they realize how alive they are. So this film is telling all, all age groups through a courageous story that these 65 plus are facing age problems. But as a youngster, I have to change a job. I have to get married. Should I not? Should I take up this opportunity? Should I go? Should I get engaged to this girl or boy or not? These are everyone is trying to cover up, catch over some uchai or the other at
Hmm.
whatever age group. So, like you said, these are young men at heart. It's a humorous film. It's a film of fun, laughter, colors. So through them, I'm trying to give this message of good values, good thinking, to the younger audience also. How much they will learn, I do not know. But
Yes.
then that's a part of every filmmaker's journey, you know. You just get touched by a subject and it just draws you to make it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I think as you rightly said, the film pays homage to climb Everest for the love of friendship. So tell me,
Yes.
was there a moment in your life where you went to a greater height for love or loved ones? And if so, how did that experience help you to channelize emotions as a filmmaker for Ujai?
Honestly, I've not had the fortune to do that. I have not had this opportunity that I had to because I got quite a lot in my life on a platter. But I always envied people who had the courage to go beyond what I did. You
Uh-huh.
know, there have been people who I've envied who could have the courage to take certain leaps that I did not, who could jump the comfort level which I did not. So a lot of Unchai is during the pandemic when I saw that the rich, the poor, the good looking have lost their value. Only the one who is courageous is the hero.
Yeah, true.
And I realized that you have finally it's your atma nirbharta, your inside strength, your inner Everest, which is going to take you ahead. No doctor, no blessings, no temple, nothing can save you.
Hmm.
So you have to believe in yourself that I can get well. That just changed a lot inside me. And I knew I had to make this film.
Right.
So I think I have not gone through any personal experiences, but I have felt it very strongly that this is what I want to do now.
Hmm. I'm really glad you touched upon this actually, because one thing that I have noticed in your films, I mean, there's a lot of things I've noticed which you will come to at the later stage of this interview, but
Yeah.
I think the way you present death and adversity is also very poignant. There is a strong emotional connection with the tragedy, yet a sense of hope and optimism. I mean, just a bit of an aside. I can never finish Hum Aapke Hai Kaun because I think as soon as Pooja falls down the stairs, that's my time of the film samapt. I cannot complete the film because it gets me so much, and that's how strong the emotions conveyed are. So, would you say, I mean, in light of what you had just answered in the previous question, would you say you're positive even in times of hardship too?
Yes, yes, I think that is how one should look at life because one has to accept that there is darkness, there is going to be sunlight, there is going to be death, there's going to be birth. So one has to accept, and as a filmmaker, it is responsible. We are responsible to portray hope and death, life, sadness, richness, poorness, heartbreak. These are part of our journeys. But that's why ye जीवन है. इस जीवन का यही है रंग रूप. That's
Yeah.
why if you see in the trailer, in the film, this song plays. If I were to tell someone that, okay, this is death, this is karma, this is bad karma, this is good karma, don't give me gyan, that comes up. But you have
Yes.
to just give indirectly message that this is accept life, accept live day to day. So these are little things that I try to do, and I'm happy that you notice in the film.
Yes, definitely. I loved, and honestly, I've always heard this song, but I think the way you've incorporated it, it's basically एक अलग ही पहचान दी है आपने इस गाने को, I think, and I think हमें एक अलग ही पहचान मिल जाएगी, and I think it's very nice we're seeing Hindi films like Sky is Pink, thank God, recently as well, which
Yes.
actually talk about in a way that humanize the essence of grief and death in a way which is also about finding life within death, actually. And I think that is something which I'm really fascinated by and I'm impressed by a lot. But I'll tell you something that I also really love is the way you present female leads in your films. Be it Madhuri Dixit, Karishma or Tabu, many of them are strong, modern, and revolutionary in demeanor, even Sonam as well, for that same matter. But I also think that you also make sure they're very rooted too. So was this something that you wanted to also present in Uunchai's lead actresses as well?
Uh, that's part of my DNA, to represent ladies with a lot of grace and with a lot of Indianness. I mean, it has a lot to do with the kind of mother I've had. So the way I've seen my mother portray her strength, her Indianness, her rootedness, her love for family. So somewhere I take the female energies from my mother to that extent. And in this film, there is Neena Gupta, there is Sarika ji, there is Parineeti. They are the female leads. They are all, the majority of them are all 60. They are playing 60s. Parineeti is of course younger, but again I'm having them rooted, and also each of them is also covering their own unchais. So whether the gents or whether ladies, whether it's Pari, everyone is going towards the unchai, is fighting their own little courage out of comfort zone to do something else.
Right. And I also read somewhere that I think Parineeti's character is quite interesting, that, even though she has a very rough exterior, but I think there's a sense of, I think, vulnerability in her and her character where she's trying to sort of seek that love from people as well. So again,
Yes.
it kind of reminded me of that character that you had, Salman's sister, younger sister, who plays football in Prem Dhanpayo, who again had that really rough exterior, but then also had that
Yeah.
vulnerability within her. She wanted to be accepted. So again, it's a very interesting strand you've presented here. So what was your decision behind casting Parineeti? Because I think she's a fabulous actress. So what was your process like of sort of working with her in the film and the other actors too?
Yeah, actually, Pari represents a lot the younger generation in the film. She plays a trek leader. Now, when you look at these treks which go on these mountains, the trek leader is the main person who has to lead for, and very responsible she has to be, or he has to be. Now, she plays a girl who is not too happy taking elders on this tour, because she feels that there are किसी को आलू पसंद नहीं, किसी को चना पसंद नहीं, they are not good with their paperwork. Sometimes they take medical checkups, they don't take medical checkups, then loop breaks, and then if they are adamant, they are so adamant, they are not prepared to change. So there are a lot of humorous clashes that she has with these three who are climbing up. She is the leader. And elders also, you cannot say they are the gods. They have their own things about not respecting young people.
True.
But
Yeah.
during this journey, she develops this bond with these people who are almost her grandparents' age. And how they become friends and how she takes them up finally.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she's seeking her own Uunchai because she loves her job, but her parents think that you're wasting your time. How will you get married? Who will you get married? If you're just going to go climbing these mountains, your face will turn tanned. Who will marry you if you turn black? So these are all there. And she's trying to tell her parents that this is my love, this is my independence to be in nature, but the parents are not able to understand. So she's seeking her own liberation. So that's her journey. And I wanted a girl who can have, like you said, a a tough exterior, but also someone who's very pure at heart. So that's when we penciled on Parineeti, and she's done a very fine job.
Yes.
To be against all these elders, and she had to really stand up.
It
to
really
face.
is. It really is. No, it's so legendary, sir. And actually, जब मैंने ऊंचाई के बारे में सुना, actually when I heard कि ये जो सीनियर सिटीजन्स की जो है एक फ्रेंडशिप स्टोरी है, मेरे दिमाग में सबसे पहले टाइटल आया था शौकीन, because I remember Shaukin, but that was a very different type of a style where it was more of a comedy, and it was slightly racy as well, I guess, in that sense for the time as well. And I think it was a very different sort of style of film. But I think, as you know, previously in Hindi cinema, a film led by heroes would boast of machismo. But I think your movies in particular, they highlight vulnerability among men, and they use that as strength. Whether it's Vivek in Hum Saath Saath Hai, Prem in Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. So why do you think for a while Indian films were not as prominent in showcasing male vulnerability? And was this an important factor in choosing the actors you did for Ujai as well? Is again getting that vulnerability out of them?
No, earlier, you see, if you go back 30, 40, 50 years, films were more plot driven.
Yeah.
We used to make films. There is one accident, then someone dies, then there's a song, then they fall in love, then a villain comes over, a girl is picked up. People wanted clear stories because they wanted very basic stories. Then as we got educated, we saw international cinema, everyone started. So we wanted to know more about the feelings of the characters. We wanted to feel inside. We realized there is God, there is devil inside us. सबसे पहले हम अंदर clean हो. So those are the facets. So cinema moved along with the generation, along with the kind of books that were being followed now, along with so cinema moved along with the. So I was a part of that process where I also realized that why there should be a villain outside, there can be a villain inside.
Very
like
true.
Gita says, Kurukshetra aur kuch nahi hai. Kurukshetra is a battle inside your heart. There is Pandavas, there is Kauravas inside you.
Bilkul.
that is the essence of the Gita. So that's when I thought that कोई खराब नहीं, कोई अंदर नहीं, उसकी सोच उस समय जो उसके ग्रह होते हैं, सोच होती है. So that goes off for some time.
Right.
So in my film, generally there are no villains. That's how the vulnerability I play upon. I get opportunity, I get the time, because my stories are not plot driven.
Yeah.
So that's how I think that vulnerability comes. And Uunchai for me is one of the most layered films I've made. So there are more layers. There is much more vulnerability in Uunchai than any of the other characters, other films I've made.
Yes, definitely. So how was it like? I mean, because I know I read up a few times that it was a very surreal moment, I think, for you to approach Mr. Bachchan with the script. And I think I had read up a few experiences about that. But what was your ideologies, I think, in terms of casting the male actors that you have? I mean, because it's such a brilliant combination, and I absolutely loved it. So how did you zero in on all of them?
So, firstly, this film had to have Bachchan sir. Otherwise, I could not have made the film, because he's the epitome of courage.
Yeah. True.
Even in real life, when you look at him at the age of 17 and 80, the way he shot for this film is unimaginable at this age. But we did it in the middle of COVID, in the middle of the pandemic, to do this kind of film with so much of travel, with so much of and the main lead actor, normally a Bachchan sir would do 20-25 days to shoot for 80 days, 70-80 days in a film.
Yeah.
Is huge. So I was very apprehensive about how he would like this subject. So, I mean, it was one of those days, where we all as human beings at some time or other
Hmm.
feel little petrified. A young student will feel petrified to meet the teacher. A elder will meet the principal. A
Hmm.
patient will feel petrified to meet the doctor. So as someone much younger, I was petrified to narrate my subject to such a senior actor. So that was my little ghabrat. But when I narrated to him, he was so loving. It was a half an hour Zoom call, and he said, "I'm doing your film.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
doing your film," because he said, "I love the fact that you are portraying that all of us have our Everest inside us."
Mm-hmm. Ji.
The message of the film is we all have our Everest inside us. Everest is that hidden strength. You can call God or you can call the Everest, which we all just uh, need to open up to get all the courage to cover up all the cover climbs in life. So when he came on board, then I got my dream casting. Then immediately, whatever I wanted, whether it was Anupam ji, Boman ji, Neena Gupta, Sarika ji, Parineeti, but the most difficult casting for me was Danny ji,
Oh, wow, really?
because yeah, it was a small role, and Danny ji, when I called him, he's settled in Sikkim. So he said that, "Suraj, I've never done a guest appearance in my life." So I said, "Sir, aap ek baar script sun lo." So I sent him the script. He read the script and he says, "Suraj, your script is good." Then I said, "Do it." He said, "But there is so much pandemic in Bombay. Why do I come?" Then I sent him the good parts of Bombay. Let's see how good it is. I sent him all the beautiful photos of Nepal mountains to tempt him. He showed me photographs of such a beautiful rain in Sikkim. Why should I come? Then, but finally, he agreed after all my persuasion, and we shot with him. And there could have been no one. When you see the film, there could have been no one to do justice to that small but very important role in the film.
Yes. And again, I've noticed that as well. I memean, we were talking about Pooja and Hum Aapke Hai Kaun, right? And again, it was a supporting role in comparison, right, to Prem and Nisha, of course. But still, it has such a lasting impact. And I think it's amazing how you always
Yeah.
manage to pull that off. But I think, sir, because आपने जिक्र किया अभी हाल ही में कि आप obviously Everest पे shooting कर रहे थे. I think you were in Nepal. You shot in Nepal, and
Yes,
there
yes,
was
yes, sir.
freezing conditions at that point, I'm sure. Or ऊपर से कोविड-19 था, तो
Yeah.
वो कितना कठिन रहा आप सब के लिए, उस वक्त काम करना, because obviously you had to be in a support bubble, right? And the fact that obviously the actors we're working with are, of course, very experienced senior
Yes,
actors, so they were vulnerable
yes.
to COVID as well. So how difficult was it to balance and manage all of that at that point in time?
I mean, it was a challenge that we just, uh, the love of the subject and the confidence these senior actors gave to us in our trust. So it wasn't easy because so firstly, we sent our team to check it up. Then I took all my technicians. We went all the way trekking. We decided how will we take the crew, and then we decided that we will acclimatize all the cast and go. So
Right.
from Kathmandu, we took them to Lukla. Lukla, we stayed for 3 days, 4 days, acclimate. Then we went to Namche Bazaar. We were there for 5 days. Then we went to Manang, 13,000 feet. So we took, and we had a whole uh, group of doctors going with us.
Hmm.
We went baby steps. We saw to it that we didn't shoot in the nights, freezing. So somehow, and God has been kind, there was nothing to do with anyone's health. Of course, we saw rains and we saw landslides, but indirectly we all came to know it's not easy, boss, to climb. So
Yeah.
somehow we all realized that we are doing, our subject is good.
Yes, absolutely. It almost seemed like everyone was climbing their own Everest throughout the
Yeah,
whole making of that film.
yeah,
But I think that sounds wonderful. I think Uunchai is definitely a film which I'm really looking forward to. But Suraj, I was watching an interview that you just recently did, and I think it was wonderful how you vividly described how you've grown up with familial values and spirituality. And of course, your films, I mean, needless to say, reflect that. How did you balance both cultural roots with the contemporary times and allow both to coexist with each other?
uh, I think it's a conscious decision, because if I have to uh, convey my innermost feelings, my core family values, my core wish to speak about bonding, about being close to each other, trusting each other so that you get back your trust. I have to stay in a little more contemporary manner because these things can seem preachy.
Mhm.
These things, I've had audiences tell me that why are you saying this? This doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
I've had audiences come up to me and tell me clearly, don't unnecessarily open up those Pandora boxes which we have closed because we don't get back what we get.
Hmm.
We bare our souls and then you get hurt. So might as well be where we are fine. Now, how do I break this barrier? So
Hmm.
Unchai, according to me, is my big step to it because I have contemporarized, I have tried to
Right.
say it all in a very contemporary fashion.
Hmm.
There are all my technicians are young. I'm the eldest in this. At one time, I was the youngest in my uh, as a director, but here I have all people. All the technicians are younger. The music is today's. The lyrics is today's. My DOP is a very young man, and this character storytelling is very real.
Yeah.
Nowhere is it glamorized. Nowhere do you see those um, filters on screen to make everything beautiful. If you look at makeup, you will find it is very real makeup. Everyone is growing their own beards. So I've tried to say it in a contemporary manner. So this is a conscious effort from my side.
Right. It's not like the larger than life sort of family dramas that we saw. Like, for example, Prem Ratan Dhanpaya was, of course,
Yeah,
definitely larger than life in
yeah,
comparison to this,
yeah,
right? So
yeah,
it definitely
yeah.
seems to be
This
that.
is much more. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned this actually because I think the reason why everyone is really rooting for Uchai is because we're living in such rough times, and I feel like we've seen an influx of a lot of violent and realistic films which are really ruling the roost. But of course, I think your
yeah,
films sort of bring that essence of mithas and warmth which we always longed.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Surajji, have you ever been worried about your voice as a filmmaker getting lost during this whole changing times and evolving times of cinema?
No, I'm not worried at all. In fact, I'm happy to be on the special side because I truly believe there is an audience for all kind of cinema. There is an audience. There is an audience which would like to also see traditional thing. There is an audience which will root. There is some mother will take their daughter, some father will take their daughter. If not, at least some son will not believe in this, but he will say ki ye picture my mother will like.
Hmm.
Ye picture my father will like. Like on the trailer launch, I can never forget one gentleman who was a journalist came to me and saw the trailer and said, ये पिक्चर मैं अपनी माँ को लेके जाऊंगा और मेरी मम्मी ना चोटी बना के जाएगी, मैं जानता हूँ इस पिक्चर में. अब यू टेल मी,
Oh,
चोटी बना के जाना का क्या मोल किसी लेडी का?
that's so sweet.
बिकॉज he said that she doesn't leave home, but इस फिल्म को देखने के लिए ना चोटी बना के जाएगी वो.
Yeah.
So for me that is such a big thing. So I feel that uh, no maker should try and say stories of what is working. They should tell stories which they want to tell. Otherwise, you will fake it.
Hmm.
You take the best of technique, you say it in whichever way you want, but tell stories which are from your heart. Otherwise, you're going to fake it. And today, no one goes to see fakeness. There
Yeah.
is so much to see at home. You will only go and pay that big amount of money to see something which is out of sincerity,
Yeah.
of which is an experience that you do not get to see often, which is a luxury. So I feel I need to be there as it is to stand out as special.
Right. And I think this is really beautiful what you said because there's this incident that came up to you where उन्होंने कहा कि मेरी mom चोटी बना के वो film देखने जाएगी.
Yes, 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 yes,
Of
yes.
course, over years, sir, because you've had such a lasting effect on so many of us, through your cinema, through the works that you've presented, how does that actually impact you? I think emotionally and mentally when people come up to you and when they say they have a connect with you, because I'm sure it must get very overwhelming for you as an artist to receive that feedback, right? How do you cope with that?
Mhm.
With that reaction, whether it's good, bad,
I
or
mean,
ugly?
No, I feel more and more grateful every time, because in a day I keep meeting 3 4 people who appreciate those films and who ask me to keep making those. Of course, mostly they are all from the elderly generation, but the fact is they love it so much and they want it to be there because they want to show it to their bahu, or they someone wants to show it to the beta. And I feel that I feel that even there are so many, how many makers would be there after having spent 35 years in this industry to
Mm.
yet be remembered for one of the films. People come to meet me, they give me so much love because I made an Hum Aapke Hain Kaun. They remember Hum Saath Saath Hai even today.
Yeah.
Hum Saath Saath Hai, Hum Aapke Kaun are 30 years back, and so many thousands of movies have come in between. But people remember because I'm grateful to Z Cinema also for playing it so often. And they
Yes.
play it often because people want to see it.
Right.
So there is hope. People are there yet wanting to see simple things about day-to-day life, about the goodness. So I think I think that is the biggest gratitude I have to
Mhm.
anyone who comes and appreciates or talks to me about cinema.
राइट, राइट। और मैं आपको एक बात बता दूँ, एक्चुअली मेरे खुद के फैमिली में ना बहुत ज़्यादा प्यार है हम आपके हैं कौन लेके और हम साथ-साथ है को
अच्छा।
लेके। इनफैक्ट मैं जब मेरे दादाजी ज़िंदा थे एक्चुअली मैंने ये बात सुनी है मेरे डैड से एक्चुअली कि जब वो फ़िल्म देखने गए थे सिनेमा में, तो वो सीन आया जब वो पूजा गिरती है। तो सो माय
हाँ,
दादाजी लिटरली ही वाज़ वेरी एन्ग्रोस्ड इनटू द फ़िल्म और वो खड़े हो गए और वो कह रहे, "अरे! ध्यान रख,
okay.
गिरना मत।" So that's how invested. And
Okay.
in fact, my ba actually had also recommended that हम आपके हैं कौन जैसी फ़िल्म की तो VHS टेप होनी ही चाहिए घर पे। तो I think this is the
होनी चाहिए,
sentiments that
so
you
nice of you.
yeah, this is the sentiments, and I really wanted to share this with you actually. So, but yes, thank you so much for saying that,
Thank you
sir.
so much.
But look, sir, it's been over 3 decades, obviously, since मैंने प्यार किया released. तो
Yeah.
इस 3 दशक में आपने अपने अपने बारे में क्या डिस्कवर किया है एज अ फिल्म मेकर और आप एक ऐसे पॉइंट पे आ चुके हैं जब आपने कहा कि हाँ चलो reinvention करते हैं. Do you think ऊंचाई is that film पे? I think you just had mentioned it, but I thought I would ask that anyway.
So I'm if I look at my career graph, with each film, I feel I have grown as a filmmaker, leaving the commercial side aside, because that is an audience's perspective prerogative. But as a filmmaker, I have grown. If I look at it, I can see my whole lifespan growing as a filmmaker, combining as a human being, my experiences of over the years, from a son to a father to a businessman to a prospective grandfather. I mean, it's my journey here. And today, when I look at myself with Uchai, I I feel a lot of liberation because I don't want to now run the race.
Right.
I don't want to be in the number one, number two, number three, because that's for the younger makers to make. I would like to now go inside and tell stories which are directly from the soul.
Mm, mm,
So that is my journey to now tell stories which really belong, because I've had a great success earlier on in my life, and there has been pressure that I have to live up to it.
mhm,
If this set, the next set should be bigger, the opening should be bigger, or there must be a hit song, there must be so many dancers, people come to see Salman Khan, so Salman Khan requires this much of big shoes,
mhm,
Salman Khan requires this much of style, Salman Khan requires this much of hip steps. But I just feel I want to get out of this and just make films now which are
mm.
directly from the soul, something which comes straight on without commercializing things. Of course, I have to say it entertainingly, I have
Yes.
to say it entertainingly, I have to say it with all the I don't want to make a drab and dry films, but I want to make happy films, but
Yeah.
something which makes me happy. So I think
Right.
that would be my
Mm.
journey ahead. Yeah.
Obviously, Ujai is
Yeah.
about friendship, and Salman is very fond of you. In fact, when I had did my interview with him last year, we cannot stop talking about
Yeah.
you and Prem and how much he's attached to this image of Prem that you've created and the sort of characteristics you display. So, when will you work with him again, and how do you think Prem will be distinct from the previous adaptations we have seen before?
I think Uunchai, after Uunchai, I go on to script the film I want to do with Salman Bhai. And it will be a family film again. But again, I think I would like to present Salman again as Prem, but he would be also a fresh avatar of Prem. We have an avatar who of Prem who is married, who is living a life uh, just like I am living today.
Amazing.
And would be facing his own challenges, but we will retain the happiness. Prem represents someone who is a family man, but definitely he would be a married man now.
Right.
Surely.
Right. No, wonderful. Chalo, thank you so much, Surajit. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
वो प्रेरणा में बहुत कुछ सिखा के ये यात्रा उसके प्रति हमारी